So tonight, Black Combat is holding their fourth numbered event. Just their fourth numbered event, guys. They just started holding events this year, and I keep getting people telling me these guys are going to take over the Korean MMA scene. They are sold out of this event. It looks extremely lavish. It's both MMA event and also like New Year's Eve party. So yeah, go check them out on Instagram and you'll see some pictures of the event. The format that Black Combat uses is so different from any other MMA promotion. And I really wonder how many other promotions around the world are going to start following suit and almost like copycatting. So if you don't know, Black Combat is sort of like a brand new Korean MMA promotion, but the way that they format their events is very much around like a documentary style. So they haven't been showing any events live, at least on like a video broadcast. They sometimes have an audience there, but they basically will film an event, and a lot of the events that lead up to the event, weigh-ins, fight announcements, press conferences, things like that. They're sort of built around this very eccentric, enigmatic figure called Godfather, and he sort of hosts all these events and is the central character of the documentaries. So then Black Combat is releasing YouTube videos, both with the fights, but also just as important is the lead up to the fights, showing the personalities and interactions beforehand. It sort of has this very genuine, unfiltered feel to it. So what makes Black Combat work? Well, one idea is that it's sort of combining some of the best practices of Tough with some of the best practices of UFC embedded. It follows the central characters of that fight week. It follows them around throughout the week and shows interesting things that happen, gives you a behind the scenes exclusive feel. And then with Tough, it also has some of the drama, some of the interactions, and showing personalities. It's combining Tough, it's combining UFC embedded, and then also with an MMA event as well. The other thing that Black Combat is doing extremely well is that it's just a lot of fun. There are so many MMA promotions out there screaming for our attention, and it's a lot of fun. It's not just interviews, it's not just stale television, it's fun. There's jokes, there's pranks. People have explained the Korean MMA scene to me as full of politics and run by a bunch of old guys that are a little bit out of touch with the market. And with Black Combat, all these guys are in their 20s. They've got a lot of new ideas. They're very savvy with social media and video. Whereas the other players, the AFCs, Road FCs, Double G, all these guys, kind of standard MMA events. Now I know Road FC is sort of transitioning to more of a tournament season format a la PFL next year. We'll see how that goes. I'm not too optimistic with that, but I just keep hearing that Black Combat is signing more and more of the top talent in Korea, and that's a really bad sign for these other promotions that are starting to, the quality of these events is starting to degrade. They're still entertaining, but when you have 5 promotions that are basically sharing all this talent, the other reason why I think it's working really well is it's full of personality. Someone told me a while ago that on social media and whatever, we don't follow accounts, we follow people, we follow personalities. And what Black Combat has done is they've taken that idea and they've really put it with their promotion. UFC has almost done this a little bit with Dana White. They've got Dana White's Contender Series. You get to see a lot of his personality with that. His personality is part of the draw. But with Black Combat, it's even more so. You've got the personality of the Godfather. You really get to see the personalities of the fighters. The fighters are put in situations that are going to bring out their personality and bring out laughter. And I think that is such a missing ingredient from so much of MMA is personality. We get so much of these events that are in these nondescript warehouses or wherever that are showcasing fighters that we've never heard of, that we don't know anything about. And meanwhile, Black Combat is telling stories. It's creating personalities. And it's only going to get much bigger from here. I hear people telling me, managers, media members, that watch over the next year, the landscape of Korean MMA is going to drastically change. So I think that's going to shift a lot towards black combat. I also see that some of these promotions like Double G have a new CEO. That's Dong Yang Yi, who's a former UFC fighter. So we'll see what they can do. We'll see what Rogue can do to try to keep up with black combat. It's going to be interesting. And it's also going to be interesting if other promotions and other ecosystems around the world are going to see black combat's formula for success and try and reproduce it in their own way. I'm going to put a link to their channel down below. Definitely check them out. In the meantime, Happy New Year.